let's look at Bitcoin, gold / the US dollar. First off, read this disclaimer carefully and do your good deed of the day by liking and subscribing. We go here to the cryptos. First off, we can see that these are, the main cryptos. A pretty, decent move here from the low, approaching, 1000% average. So definitively seeing, a pretty sizable move. So BTG / USD is the ticker for Bitcoin Gold. Okay, so it is a bit different than Bitcoin. So it is a cryptocurrency with Bitcoin fundamentals mined on common GPUs, graphic processors, instead of the specialty ASICs. So ASICs, they tend to monopolize mining to a few big players, which is, very, very true. But GPU mining means anyone can mine again, restoring decentralization and independence. Yeah, definitively something that I do agree with. And, this highlights also one of the paradoxes we see in this whole crypto market is that, the vision is that, this was supposed to be very fundamentally different from the fiat money system, where you have very big differences between the haves and the have-nots. But we do see that same divergence replicate itself in the crypto business. If we look here at the performance of this pair, getting the data here from Bitfinex, you can see that Bitcoin Gold is still very far away from the highs before the highs it reached during the previous big run in cryptos. In heading towards 2018, you see that we are approximately 350-ish% away. We have seen a rather meaningful move. So technically, this is from the weekly perspective, the bulls do have a very interesting position, even though you can see that what they did previous week, that was it was very, very aggressive, to put it that way. Looking here at the daily data points, if we look here at the previous times where we broke out above the overbought RSI level. So you can see here we formed this sharp breakout, but you can see that it took us only a few days to pull back below it, and you can see what happened to price as well. And if we go over here, you can see something similar. We peak slightly above it, and then we start to cool down rather succinctly. And this is something that has happened quite systematically. Because how a security reacts to RSI levels, it varies a lot. You do have some that when they reach, so let's say that this here is the RSI level, and this of course is then overbought, and here you have oversold. You do have some that are able, to break out and just stay and basically be overbought for an extended period. But you do have others that just peak above and then pull back. And we do see more of this when it comes to Bitcoin Gold than this, based on the most recent history. Okay, so let's zoom in a bit and look at what happened the previous times, as far as the price goes. So if you look here at, the moving averages. So this is early 2021, and you can see that in this instance, the blue, light blue, 5-day moving average was the clear momentum indicator. So as long as we managed to close above it, then the bulls were very much in control. But you see here, the moment we close below it, the selling accelerates and it turns into a resistance level. So that is rather relevant. You can see in this instance as well, which was the big rally in February and into February, the 5-day moving average. And when we get into, and you see that that was also became this resistance level that we had to reclaim in order to rally again. And when we look at the current rally, so here again, the pattern is repeating. we do have this 5-day moving average in light blue. We have used it, but you see that today it is acting a bit as a resistance level. Hence, given the most recent history, that could become an issue. So let's even look back at this rally back here. Here you see in light blue, the 5-day moving average, it is support. When we do break below it, then it becomes a battle with that key moving average. So clearly the 5-day is the key momentum moving average. Hence what happens today is a pretty big deal, because we have seen that it can turn into a bit of a stubborn resistance level, especially when we have had these overbought readings on the RSI. So yeah, definitively we did find some interesting pattern here for Bitcoin Gold that so far has been rather tradable. Let's look at the King Bitcoin index. Okay, so you see that, far above the highs we made in 2017. So definitively we see that Bitcoin is, substantially stronger here than Bitcoin Gold. Even though Bitcoin Gold, as they argue, they are more, they're staying more true, to that more democratic origin of Bitcoin. On the whole topic of democratizing finance, one of the great paradoxes that have come up is, so let's actually instead of looking at Bitcoin now look at Coinbase, because it's rather relevant. I think we need to look at maybe the 1 minute chart. Okay, so the key thing here with this whole debate, okay, democratizing finance, and that was something that Bitcoin aimed for in a major way. The great paradox now with Coinbase is that the commissions, basically, the cost of buying, and selling, transacting on Coinbase, it is very high, very, very high indeed. Because one would expect, from the outside that, maybe it's close to, zero commissions, something like that, because that seems to fit more the ethos of this whole movement. But no, it is very, very expensive. And I don't think the irony of that is lost on, the big wigs on Wall Street. And these transaction costs, they are the Achilles heel of the whole cryptocurrency movement, because if there are, these major costs incurred by trading them, then it means that it will be very difficult to use these cryptos in real commerce, where there's continuing transactions every millisecond, all over the world. And just imagine if you had to pay a commission every time you bought something with your bank card. You buy a loaf of bread, but then you have to pay a bit of a commission on top of the costs of the bread. I don't think you would be okay with that. Yeah. But that is one of the key distinctions between being a currency and being a security. A currency is supposed to be structured in such a way that it can be extremely liquid. But we don't see much. There are some examples, but we don't see much of that super liquidity in the crypto space. They are behaving too much, unfortunately, like shares.